Imagine a country where factories suddenly stop making diapers for babies and start making them for adults instead. I know it sounds wild, but Japan just crossed a line no country ever has. Right now, adult diapers actually outsell baby diapers in Japan. It's a crazy surprising fact for sure, but it's not a joke. It's actually the very beginning of a massive mystery.
Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're basically watching a real-life documentary unfold right in front of us. We are exploring Japan's shrinking population. The country is aging faster than literally any nation in history. And here's the thing. What's happening there, it'll probably happen in your country very soon.
So, let's dive right into part 1, a country without children. To really understand why factories are changing the diapers they make, we have to look at this number, 1.15. This is Japan's birth rate for the year 2024. In simple terms, this means a woman in Japan has, on average, just close to one child. Now, to keep a population stable, this number actually needs to be 2.1. So 1.15, that is very, very low. The number of babies born here has dropped for 15 straight years.
And at the exact same time, almost 30% of the entire country is over 65 years old. That's almost 1 in 3 people. This makes Japan a super aging society. You have very few babies and, people living a really long time. In fact, Japan is one of the highest life expectancies in the world, meaning people live much longer than in other places.
But why are there so few babies? Well, when surveys ask young Japanese people why they stay single, they usually give 3 main reasons. First up, it's just hard to meet people. Second, no financial security. Life is expensive, and jobs aren't always super stable. And third, almost half of them simply prefer being single. They want to focus on themselves rather than starting a family.
Which brings us to part 2, the ghost villages.
When a population shrinks, it doesn't happen equally everywhere. Take a look at crowded Tokyo. Young people often leave their hometowns and move to the big cities for work. But then, look at the empty rural villages in the countryside. Because the young people leave, only older people stay behind. And when they pass away, these villages become completely quiet. The result of all this? 8,000. Take a second to really think about that number. Between the years 2002 and 2022, exactly 8,000 schools closed down in Japan. Because there are literally no children left in these rural towns, the schools just lock their doors. Just imagine a beautiful school building up in the mountains, perfectly clean, but the school bell just never rings again. This actually brings us to a very special Japanese word, akya. It simply means an abandoned or empty house. Because families get smaller and move to the city, they end up leaving their old family homes behind.
Today, there are over 9 million akya in Japan, 9 million empty homes. It's so extreme that in some towns, local governments are desperate for new people to move in. So desperate, they are selling these big, beautiful old wooden houses for €0. Yeah, they're literally giving them away for free, just so the town doesn't completely disappear.
Now let's look at part 3, the missing workers.
Ask yourself a really simple question. If everyone is getting older and there are no young people, who is going to do all the everyday work? Well, by the year 2040, Japan will be missing 11 million workers. That means 11 million jobs will have absolutely nobody to do them. Businesses are putting up help wanted signs, but nobody is there to apply.
So, what kind of jobs are we talking about here? Mostly everyday physical jobs. Farming, where the average farmer is already over 67 years old. Construction, which is, heavy work building houses. Elderly care, because there just aren't enough nurses for the aging population. And logistics, like delivering packages and working in big warehouses.
In a lot of Western countries, the answer to missing workers is immigration. Bringing in workers from other countries. But in Japan, only 2% of the workforce is foreign. Compared to countries like Germany or the UK, this is incredibly low. Japan is an island nation that highly values its traditional culture and language, and historically, it has kept immigration very restricted. So, if they aren't bringing in millions of foreign workers, what on earth is their solution?
That leads us right into part 4, robots to the rescue.
Japan is using high-tech, futuristic ideas to solve a very human problem. But they have a totally different culture around artificial intelligence. Read this quote with me. "The robot does not take your job. It takes the job you didn't want." In the West, we often worry robots will steal our jobs. But in Japan, robots are seen as heroes that help out when humans simply cannot do the heavy work anymore.
And these robots are already stepping in to help out. First, drones and robot tractors are harvesting crops on farms. Second, robots are serving food and bringing it right to your table in restaurants. Third, in hospitals, robotic arms help nurses safely lift heavy patients. And fourth, on construction sites, robots are literally welding and building.
The key here is that they are working together, not replacing humans. Japan wants machines to do the heavy lifting so that older humans can keep working without hurting their bodies. So a 70-year-old worker can use their lifetime of experience to manage the robot. It really is a beautiful partnership.
Finally, Part 5. A glimpse of our future.
Now, you might be thinking Japan is just the unique place, but look at countries like South Korea, Italy, Germany, and China. Their populations are also getting older, and their birth rates are dropping fast. In fact, South Korea's birth rate is now even lower than Japan's. These countries are just 10 or 15 years behind Japan, so Japan is basically a time machine. What is happening there today will absolutely happen in Europe, Asia, and the Americas tomorrow.
So, the question is, are we ready for a world with more grandparents than kids? Japan is showing us how to adapt with ghost towns, robot workers, and adult diapers. They're trying their best to survive this massive change peacefully. But the big question is, when this happens in your country, will you be ready? Think about that for a second. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.